Welcome everyone to This Is For Me, Girl Sath Podcast with Tarn and
Rampy. Hello, guys. Again.
So, how have you been, Rampy?
I've been not too bad, super pumped and excited for this podcast. I couldn't sleep today, honestly. I was super excited to come, even though it's time change and we get an extra hour.
Yeah, I know you like to see it as a way of thinking back to what the original time was, but hey, we need to be grateful for the things we have, and that extra hour of sleep is doing great for my skin.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely. It's going to do amazing things for a lot of people. So just take a positivity, chapter into whatever notion you can in your life. That's just how I like to preach. But yes, anything else happening in your week?
Honestly, it was more or less just a regular week. I don't even notice time fly. I felt like after summer and after all the weddings and stuff, things would kind of like trickle down and kind of be a little bit more at a slower pace. I find it's going even faster. Like we're already in November. How crazy is that? What about you?
Yeah, work's been busy, life's been busy. I just like to have a busy schedule, and I think as you grow older, there's just a lot of different components of your life that you never used to think about that are coming together.
Yep.
Right?
You gotta honestly make the kind of life you want to live. So it's not like just visioning it. It's more of like living it or trying to make those steps to do what you want to do. And it requires, sometimes to, get off our behinds and move, even though sometimes we may not want to. You know what I mean? So yeah,
for sure. I absolutely agree with you there. But you know what? One thing I do want to say before we get started into today's episode is just thank you everyone for listening and the outpour of love and support we received for the launch. We were honestly very hesitant and scared to launch. Personally speaking, like minute the whole been busy. Straight up.
Honestly, I agree. I think that getting your voice out there, getting your opinion out there, you don't know how it's going to be perceived, but then again, to each to own their perception. But for us to even get started was a big achievement, and for you guys to just like give your feedback and just listen is like honestly more than enough. So yes, thank you.
Absolutely. And I think for speaking for both of us, we're very private people. So for us to kind of, in a sense, we're not really putting our business out there, but at the same time, yes, right, in a way, and our thoughts and opinions, it's just, it's not easy when you do it. So it's, it's a great new journey that we're starting out. It's something we thought would be fun to do together, and, maybe have an outpour of people coming and reaching out to us about things that they've experienced. And, we're always open to thoughts and opinions and constructive criticism, any information that we can get from our listeners. And it's just been great. And everyone has been like, oh my God, we didn't know you guys were doing this. Yeah, it was a secret. Clearly, it was a secret that we weren't sure if we were going to actually expose.
Exactly. Hence, we just kind of went with it. And now already I have a list of guests who would love to come on, and I'm super pumped about it. So we already have like envisions for the future, and I have guests that are waiting to come on. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't a soft launch; it was a hard launch, and we're just getting into it. We're just getting into it.
You will see more as time passes along, and hopefully, share your feedback. Share if you enjoy it, and for sure you want to come on, let us know. You never know.
We'll do a background check.
Depends who it is. Family, friends, we will slide.
If it's a full stranger, I'm doing a bit of a background check. In this world, again, if you guys didn't notice, I work in the legal/corrections field. I will be conducting a bit of a check.
So funny you say that, because like I work in human resources, but that's not the first thing that comes to my head. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it's okay, chalo. You know what I mean?
Girl, I'm very paranoid.
I think I've seen a different version, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, of crazy than you probably have, or if that's what we want to say, but we've probably definitely envisioned different types of interactions with people. Hence, yeah, maybe you, in your perspective, it's correct to think that way. My perspective is the type of crazy I see it's manageable. The only thing that probably could happen is someone would probably just take over the podcast, basically.
I'm not even going to give out an example of what could happen. All right, we're just gonna leave it at that for lots of confidentiality purposes within my life. All right, but again, just a big thank you from us from the bottom of our hearts for all the support, because yeah, it's just nice to see all that come through. It really did make our days once we launched it. So again, big thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's get into today's topic. What is today's topic, Rampy?
We chose to go talk about the most, I find, really interesting thing right now, which is dating. Talking about dating experiences, looking at, like, you know, the differences between before and now, and obviously many things have changed.
This is our legal disclaimer. Please note that we are not medical professionals or licensed psychologists/therapists. Thoughts, opinions, and comments made within each episode are solely our own. If you require serious medical or psychological help, please consult a professional, as we are just two girlies trying to support the sisterhood of the shit show of what it could be to be a Punjabi girl.
And even I wasn't honestly aware of some of the things, so it was interesting to find that out. And then also we're going to talk a bit about the girl's perspective, because obviously we're both females over here, and then we're going to also attempt to do a two-parter and get a male's perspective, so tune into that. As well, we're going to do the guilt of choosing yourself and self-care, tying those in, and let's get started.
Yeah, so dating. I don't even know where to begin. I am a part of the dating world.
I am happy I'm not. Oh, wait, hold on. Hubby said this. He said that apparently last time in the podcast, I said that I was in my 20s. At least that's what correction, I'm in my 30s. I just want to put it out there, because that's what he was like. He said you were in your 20s. So I was like, no. But anyways, in case, disclaimer.
I did correct you.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right, we're good.
I did correct you, and so now your husband did too, because he doesn't want false information out there.
Well, clearly I still think I'm in my 20s, you know, hence it's coming out, but it's all good. Age, I'm at that point for age is just a number, guys, and whoever's at that point knows what I'm talking about.
Also, you know, you're just young at heart, honey.
Always will be. Side note, I know everyone, like, people sometimes like, oh my god, I'm getting older, they don't want to celebrate their birthdays and stuff, and I'm like, you guys need to celebrate yourself. Like, your birthday, essentially, for me, it's turned into a celebration of who you are as a person, and I think it's beautiful. So yeah, we're getting older, but how much more, you know, fulfilled are you? And if you're not, what are you doing towards that, right? Focus on the positive versus, oh my god, I'm getting older and and I haven't done this, I haven't done that. There's still plenty of time. We can still do quite a bit. All right.
Yeah, you can look at the accomplishments you've made throughout the year, right?
Yeah, and if you're not, you know, perhaps where you want to be or etc., you can definitely work on it and get into it. There is always something you can do. So it's not like life is limitless. There's a lot of things you can do.
For sure. All right. Let's not sidetrack any longer.
Sorry.
All good. But, you know, let's try to reel it in, and let's get back onto the topic of dating. All right, like I said, guys, I am a part of this world while Rampy has been out of it for a couple of years. So we definitely have two different versions and experiences of what takes place, right?
And boy, has it changed. I thought, sorry to say, it sucked when I was, but I think it's just getting worse. Honestly,
You was not wrong there, sis. You is not wrong there at all.
Especially when I was looking up some terminations, I was like, what is this? Like, bro. Anyways, continue.
No, but you hear the stories from me, friends, people we know.
Even strangers, TikTok, man. The horror stories, I'm like, what is this? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where the first thing I want to talk about with respect to dating. Again, this is just stuff that I've noticed within my experience with what everyone has told me, friends, and just, you know, things you hear. So, you know, there's a lack of trust in others nowadays. Like, you just do not trust anyone out there.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you know, technology has a big role to play in that with
Mm-hmm.
social media and just all these other things, and being catfish, things like that. So it's just been a lot harder for people to, trust one another. And at this, it's valid. I get it, because again, the world has changed so much in, I don't even want to say, I don't know if I could say 5 years or if I could say 2. Every day the world's changing, but we're just being more cynical and being more skeptical of others, and we have a big guard up automatically.
I think it also is unfortunate because of the social media, and I know that, it's how much honesty are you really leaning into it or looking into it or taking into accountability. Like, you should see and kind of be like, it's there, but not let yourself be played into it, which is hard to do because if you're consistently on it. And I think that prior to, again, we didn't have that kind of stuff. So what did we have to compare it to? Not much. It was from experiences and stories we've heard. But now, in a retrospect, there's a bit of this like glamorous side, and it kind of goes into the dating too, because some of the people you see, they go on those crazy ass glamorous dates and whatever. And sometimes, perhaps, and it happens consciously, you set like a certain boundary, but it's the incorrect boundary you should be setting, right? Versus looking at some qualities and stuff of a person that you should, at a person itself. People look at other things which are not really a virtue. It's not everyone that's like that, but it also is the influence of what we see around, because we're like, hey, if so and so should have this, then maybe I should too, or that's how I should be. And we're prioritizing things that perhaps we need to reevaluate time to time and be like, okay, what really is important to me as a person? And that varies person to person, though. So it's really it's a crazy world.
I agree. And I think, dating is it's pretty much online these days. It's not really done in person. I personally always say that, you can't do it in person anymore. Somebody approaches you, most of the 7 to 8 times out of 10, you're gonna think of that person as creepy. If you're a guy or a girl, it comes off creepy sometimes. It's just not the way we go about it anymore. It's online. There's a comfort where you see the person in their pictures, you learn a little bit more, you talk to them for a bit or whatever the case is, you go on a date, you meet them in that way, you build a bit of a connection before, and there's a bit of more comfort there, as opposed to a stranger. Again, my mind trickles back to, again, the world and how things have been, right? Like, straight up, there's people that are freaking creepy out there, okay? Like, that's all I gotta say. Like, you could, like, sometimes you just walk down the street and someone's being a little prick and being hella creepy. And the person in me, I get really ticked off. I get extremely ticked off. And I try not to say anything, because, again, I'm a bit more of a vocal person.
Yeah.
But me, I just want to, like, cuss them out. But then I've matured a lot since my cussing out days. I used to do that a lot. But I think I give a death stare, and then I maturely possibly cuss them out, depending, right? Sometimes I'll let it slide, laugh it off, but sometimes I just find that, gauge the person before you do something like that.
Yeah.
I just want to say that. Gauge the person and take a step from there once you've done that. But yes, and another thing, is that it's difficult for both men and women dating.
100%.
Right? We don't want to just be like, okay, we're girls here, and
it goes both ways, because I'm going to cut in, because even speaking to your before, it was kind of like seeing that men should be approaching women, right? And that was nice in a way, and courting them and stuff. Now, it's not that way anymore. It's kind of, it could go either way. It could be like a man approaching women, women approaching men. But then if a woman approaches a man, she's seen as too, like, aggressive and,
Yeah, for sure, Rampy. And, I also believe that, looking at the person as a whole is something a lot of people do instead of just looks. Like, I personally believe that you become attractive as an individual the more I'm attracted to your personality.
Yeah, over time too. I don't think it's instant. There is the instant attraction, like look-wise perhaps, but with the online dating, it allows you to kind of get to know somebody. So sometimes that aspect of someone may not have been that attracted to you, you will give them that chance depending on what stage you are of dating. I think that we all go through different personal stages. There are some stages where, like, oh yeah, like, it's so good looking, I can't believe that guy's talking to me or girl's talking to me, and you kind of think that they're out of your league, and you kind of give yourself like you shouldn't put someone else on a pedestal is what I'm getting at, is that you should just kind of like, hey, like, so I'm a great person and the person should want to be with me regardless of if I think they're at a higher league or whatever, or even lower, to be honest. Like, why can't someone bring great attributes irregardless of you feeling a certain ways? But then, yeah, there is sometimes that, like, attraction and stuff, but that's where I think things gotta change a little bit.
Well, hey, if somebody wants to put me on a pedestal,
I don't think you need
I'm
to.
all for it. Anyone out there listening, I am all for it.
So basically, to my last podcast, see my auntie over here. No, I'm not gonna call myself Rampy auntie. That's just weird. Anyway, Ramps over here, Rampy is totally open to find someone for Tarn. So, send those resumes. Our email will be linked to our podcast.
Please don't.
I will check them. Trust me.
Please don't.
I will. I will find a way for you.
No, I'm good with my own methods.
No,
That's
because
all I
you
gotta
you want someone to put you on a pedestal. I think I could provide that.
I can provide that for myself too. All right?
Interesting. All right,
I can
we'll
make
see.
it work. I'm a go-getter, okay?
We'll see.
I'm a very big go-getter. I go get what I want, okay? Anybody who knows me is like,
Swear, I always get that comment in the sense of like sleep or like sit down or something, and I'm like, I can't. I just get bored. Like on the weekends, I'm like, the weekends are finally time that we have for ourselves to do whatever else we want to do, and I'm like, I want to go do stuff. I don't want to sit down because life is freaking beautiful and there's so much out there for us to do. Even a simple walk, I'm like, to get out there, right? Enjoy it. Anyways, let's go back to your dating.
for
Sorry,
sure. But just gonna say this again.
Tarn is single.
Yes, if
Send.
that's not obvious enough with the dating.
Send those resumes, yo.
No, please don't.
Please do. I mean, sorry, bio datas or whatever. Send us the links to your online profiles. Is that possible? Can you send like a profile like that? Like share online dating profiles like that? Have you seen that?
Well, you can screen record and send it to
Screen
your friends.
record. What if you screenshot it? Could people see it?
Well, then you're not getting the full dating profile, are you?
But then not like the whole full first name and last name is always listed, right? So you don't even know if you can find this person online.
Like, for example, like whatever dating app it is.
Yes.
You scroll to see like the other pictures,
Yeah.
you see whatever else they've added. So you would screen record.
And you're speaking from experience.
No.
How do you?
From my friends' experiences.
Yes.
Don't make
friends,
this
parentheses.
Don't make this just about my experience, okay?
Hence, I was clarifying.
All right. We're getting too sidetracked here. Back to what I was saying is that
She wants to be on a pedestal.
I'm a very humble person. I'm a very humble person.
No, you straight up are. This is just like us, our banter, honestly.
Yeah,
You would hate it if you were on a pedestal, man. You'd be like, get away.
I don't even like surprises. The reactions I make.
Hold up, you don't even like birthday. And that's why, even though I'm talking about it, your
I don't like birthdays, guys. It's just another day.
No. What did I just say? You need to celebrate yourself.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I do celebrate myself. I took myself to a spa day
Yeah.
because I had the day off.
There you go. So you do, like, celebrate your existence on this earth that we have that drives us crazy half the time. And Mother Nature does not know what she wants with the weather.
Yeah. I'll try to take a chapter out of your book, hopefully soon.
You're getting there.
I'm making waves. But all right. So yes, someone might, like qualities and attributes more than looks per se.
Yeah.
Or there's certain things out, people value more than others do, right? So everybody's perspective on what they're looking for is very different.
Yeah.
Some people will be like, hey, like I see these qualities in this person, or this is what they're showing me that they're going to offer me.
Yeah.
And that's literally great.
Exactly.
And I'm going to take that for what it is, because sometimes like people will be very honest, like, hey, I have a very busy work schedule and I want someone who has something more flexible, or what you're thinking about future wise, because like I said, I'm in my late 20s, so for me dating isn't just honestly fucking around.
Yeah, you're looking for something that will lead to the rest of your life, more or less. obviously it's not practical to go into something believing that, but that is like the end goal. But then I find that so much pressure is put on people when that's what they're looking for and that's what they go into firsthand. I don't think it's not realistic to have that expectation, but I think firsthand you kind of have to go into it very like a little bit easy and more of like in a friendship vibe, because then you won't set yourself up for disappointment. I find a lot of disappointment happens when we go in, okay, yeah, like I'm looking for a partner, and then that's what kind of viewing you have when you're looking at these people, and you, instead of thinking, okay, could this person even be like a great friend versus being a partner, that's where like, for me especially, that's where like the differentiation was. When I was looking at it as a perspective of a partner, things were different, and I felt so much pressure on myself, and I felt like, you know, you were like, it was so easy to like let people go or whatever. Whereas when you're looking from perspective of a friend, be like, okay, can this person even be a friend for me in the beginning? And then are you able to even adhere to the rest of whatever I need to in life, right?
Right. I also just think, you know, it is important to, if you know what your purpose is
Yes.
on in the dating apps, do let them know. Of course, they're not going to be like, oh my goodness, they want to get married. Okay, when's it the next week? She's looking for a ring. She's, you know, like we're trying to book the gurdwara. No, it's just for you to know that that's their purpose.
Yes.
If you take it offensively, you're clearly not on the same page.
Which is okay too.
Exactly.
Like honestly, if the intention is not to do that, and you know you're going through something, and I mean you don't want to settle or have something serious, that's on you, and that's fine.
Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to touch on is, you know, this whole notion of talking on these dating apps and social media apps, because let's say, for example, you meet someone on one of these dating apps, you might transition to your personal number, texting, calling, or social media apps. I've noticed, you know, all like from friends and everything out there on, you know, TikTok and what else out there, that, you know, there's this notion that if you've been talking to them not via your personal number, that it's a red flag. I think, you know, to each their own. I think to each their own, because, you know, it's not always easy to give out your personal information. It's in this day and age, some people are more comfortable to meet the person in real life once, then start using their personal number. It's a comfort thing, right? You don't want to just be that one person thinking, oh, you're talking on Instagram or on Snapchat or whatever else app it is. Like, that's a red flag if they're this age. I know for some people that is. If that is for you, then that's for you, right? But for someone else, that's not it, right? Because sometimes people, there's a lot of people out there who take their personal information very seriously, right? Where someone may also be comfortable with giving out their number, or they really don't care. Sometimes they'll give out your number, they'll give you their number, and maybe after 2 days, they like, that's it, the conversation's done. So like, in that sense, was it worth giving out your personal information? Some people might think that way, right? So I think, again, it's to each their own with that. Everyone has different comfort levels with talking to people these days. And, you know, again, there's a lot of trauma out there that we don't know that the other person's gone through, right? You have to think about in their shoes to an extent. I'm an empath, like an empathetic person.
Same. To an extent, sorry.
Yeah, so for me, I always like to look at both.
Put yourself in the person's shoes. Yeah, which some people don't do. And I'm pretty sure you probably express that to other people as well, and sometimes they don't get it because it's just not.
No. Yeah. A big thing is there's a big difference between empathy and sympathy, which I'm not going to go through today, but
it'll be another time.
another day. But, you know, just on that note, that everyone's comfort level is different. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, please just don't be that judgy. Don't be a judgmental person off the bat. Sometimes we do like to judge and be little shits and, you know, talk all this smack. I'm going to say I'm also privy to this, but I also try not to be as judgmental as I can, because again, apa no ki pata ke what's going on in their lives, right? Like, you never know what struggle someone's going through or what's going on, and yeah, you want to protect yourself, but also just be mindful of others too. Again, right? There's a half glass, half full type of note, like, you know, the way of looking at it.
I think it goes down to is that everyone's experiences are different, and you just gotta go with what you gotta go with. So it does not mean that, let's say you talking to someone, hitting it off, meeting right away, maybe that's not the right way for you. Or yeah, maybe it is. Or maybe talking after a long time and then finally meeting and then keep engaging with other people, or if you just want to talk to that one person and keep going. So it's like it's the sense of like it's not one shoe fits all situation. And yeah, sometimes talk to your friends and like, oh, should we like this, should we like that, da da da. But everyone's case is a little different. Obviously, don't be a little bit in delusion about it either. Like, trust your gut feeling. That's a big thing. But also, don't stress about it, because half of the time, that kind of stress you put on yourself or whatever could be what makes or breaks your relationship, essentially, or foundations of what could be leading to a relationship, in all essence.
Yeah, and it's not good for your body. All right. Another thing, do not stress your body out. All right.
More than you need to. Work out like crazy to an extent. Obviously, don't be falling apart, but work out. I support that 100%. You want to work out, your body's hurting, go for it. Do not input this extra mental, emotional stress that you don't need to. And then go work out. If you're confused about somebody, just go work out. Get yourself some mental clarity.
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid. And I love that you mentioned that, because that was the next thing I wanted to talk about. Telepathy over here.
Getting it. We're getting each other.
We're getting it. We're getting it.
Soon we'll be finishing each other's sentences.
Oh, is this Frozen? That was so lame. I apologize.
I actually saw a meme the other day that like now, I believe, what's the other older sister's name in Frozen?
Wait, Elsa and Anna.
So Elsa. That in November is when Elsa starts unfreezing. I saw a meme that in November she starts unfreezing.
How does that make sense?
I don't know.
When winter is like,
coming? I don't know. It's that she was frozen this whole time and then I don't know.
Disney, make it make sense.
Or maybe I'll look it up to be sure.
Okay, well, she's gonna do that while I keep talking. But yeah, so I was gonna talk about, that everyone approaches dating differently, in the sense that some people are very comfortable based on their connection with someone, and they might meet them within a day, 2 days, a week, whatever, their preferences are, and both parties are agreeable. Or, sometimes you take a lot longer to meet the person. There's so many different situations, everyone has busy schedules as you get older. There's so many different things, events, plans, and just also you just need a break, right? You don't always want to just be seeing someone and, like just making plans. You want some time for yourself. So there's a lot of that as well where people take into account. So it was interesting that you mentioned that, because I was going to talk about that. So yay for us on being on the same page. But, another thing I wanted to address was, you have to understand your wants and needs when you're in this part of your life, because sometimes you can confuse the other person if you're just like, I'm on these apps and just, bored and all that. And it's okay to be in those phases too, but then don't be surprised that somebody calls you an asshole for leaving them on. That's just how I wanted to put it for y'all. Because some people will be mean too, right? You're going to come across mean people. You're going to come across nice people. You're going to come across all sorts of people. Some people will act like they're so into you within the first 2 days, and then they drop off the planet. Some people will consistently message you and then forget half the things you're saying and then randomly ask you on a date. Or some people will ask you on a date and won't talk to you for a week, or whatever the case is. Again, these are just things that I've noticed from like conversations I've had with people, that there's various types of situations that you'll come across, but just stay true to you at the end of it. And you never know, it might just, sometimes some people are just pushing the whole dating aspect on themselves too harshly, especially when you're like in your early 20s and stuff, like, oh my god, I need this so-and-so person in my life and yada yada yada. Maybe it's just not the right time for you to be dating. That can happen. Sometimes you need to heal more, or whatever the case is. But yeah, I think overall it's a very different world for everyone to be experiencing dating. But just, be mindful and be true to you. And, it's a shit show like the Punjabi Girl Sisterhood. All right, that's all I gotta say. But, I'm gonna try to stay positive too, because you never know who you're going to meet again, like how Rempy said, if it's, maybe you'll gain a friendship, but I know sometimes it's hard for a male and a female to be friends. There's that whole dynamic about, then feelings coming into play, whatever the case is, but you never know what you will learn about yourself or someone else through these experiences. Every day is a learning day. Every day you should try to take something positive out of it. Even if I'm having a shit day, I try to think about one grateful thing thing I'm grateful for at the end of it, and to try to make myself smile, because again, back to the first episode, you need to love yourself in order to love someone else. Okay.
Yes.
But yes, what else did we want to talk about with respect to dating, Rempy?
So I have been looking up just information in regards to some changes in perhaps like our behavior. So this is like more of like from online research, stats, and etc. that are identifying the dating trends and changes that have happened. So I'm going to label a couple, and you let me know if this is something perhaps that you have encountered. Some of it may relate to what you've already kind of discussed, and then we'll just kind of work our way through it. So as you mentioned as well, there is more risk with dating these days. Due to it being so easily accessible just at our fingertips, right? And there is that misrepresentation. So yes, as much as you want to present yourself who you are truly, there are those that don't do that, right? I.e. sometimes with pictures and stuff. I don't know if you remember this, but when I was younger, I'm saying that now. When I was younger, there used to be, I think it was on MySpace. Oh my god, you remember High Five?
What the hell is High Five?
Were you there at High Five?
I know what MySpace is.
I believe there was a website.
I never had a MySpace page.
Oh, sorry. Anyways, there was something called, I think, High Five MySpace. There's a bunch of other, etc. things. I'm just going to check. I think there was. Sorry, guys, I couldn't find the Elsa meme. Maybe I made it up.
You know what the worst thing is? When you've seen a meme and then you didn't save it and then you're trying to look for it and then for the life of you, you can never find it.
I don't even know if I made it up at this point.
No, you just probably can't find it because it's just that one-off meme that you're never going to find until a point where you really don't care for it. So.
Okay, apparently High Five doesn't exist.
But anyways, continue.
I'm making it up. Anyways, we will disregard that after. Anyways, so we used to have MySpace, we used to have even Facebook and stuff, and even on dating, I think, apps or websites, people would have pictures of actors. Did you ever encounter that? Like, so many would have, like, Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, and stuff. And I'm like, who do you think you are?
I need to stop you there because I have a story.
Go for it.
I would judge me so hard.
I would call them out. I'd message them like, who you don't know Salman Khan over here, like, get out of here.
No, you're gonna judge me so hard. So
don't tell me you actually believed it.
No, that's not what
I'm there. The 20s. Hi, my Salman Khan. Or Shah Rukh Khan.
That's not.
Who would you want to talk to though before your story? Sorry, even today.
Wait, what?
Let's say if you. Who would you want out of the actors, Bollywood actors? Who would you not
I already have it in mind.
Tell me.
He's married, and I will still take him till this day. Shahid Kapoor. Shahid Kapoor has always been my Bollywood crush since I was a child. Yes. Okay? I was very upset when he got married to someone 10 years younger than him because she's around my age group.
We're so happy together.
Okay.
You could have been in India. Go.
Okay,
you should have been there.
Okay. Sorry. When he got married, right? Because it came out of fucking nowhere.
Okay. Because the rishta was for her older sister, right? It wasn't for her. Yeah.
She bagged him?
Nani, I read that they had gone to the house. It was intentional for a rishta, but apparently it was supposed to be for her older sister. But these two hit it off. So he wasn't even supposed to. He didn't go for her. He went for her older sister, is what I read. I could be wrong, guys. Bollywood.
Wait, sorry. It was supposed to be for the older sister, but he went for the younger sister.
Yeah, because they hit it off. Yeah.
Okay. And, when it came out that he was getting married, all this stuff was happening, I was so sad. I just remember being in the car with my mom and being like, that could have been me. That could have been me. Yes, I said that to my mother. I was maybe like 22, and my mom's looking at me like, you're the biggest fucking dumbass out in the world that you think that Shahid Kapoor would marry you. Shahid Kapoor, if you ever listen to this, honey, I am still game. Okay?
You should.
He's about almost 40.
But dude, he looks ageless, and that's what I love is he looks ageless. And I'm praying, and I'm pretty sure it is though. He's all natural. You know what I mean? So if you, I mean,
The all natural comment killed me.
hence I'm saying that like the other ones you can kind of tell that on steroids and stuff and whatever, and they're muscly and stuff whatever. Him, you can tell that he does not do that stuff because even I've heard before when he was with Karina Kapoor that he was very diet conscious, and
He still is.
totally veg. So hence that's the reason why he's able to maintain his physique the way he is. So girl, if had you gone with him, you would have been on that too. Can you handle that? But I mean, if you're with him, why not? Right?
Like I said, I'm still game. That's all I gotta say. But
Story, please. Sorry about that.
Yes, the story. So back when Facebook first started to become a thing, I think I was in middle school. Yeah, I think I was in middle school. So, selfies, things like that. You weren't really, doing all these pictures and stuff of yourself. Or in middle school, you'd post the stupidest things. So yes, I used to, at one point for maybe like 2 months, had a picture of Katrina Kaif as my profile picture. But again, I was in middle school. I wasn't catfishing people, but that's why I laughed, because I was one person who did that. But then I realized that I should put a picture of myself up, and then I finally, learned what a selfie was, taking pictures, and found pictures, whatever the case is. But yes, at one point I did have a picture of a celebrity up as my profile picture. You will never find that because I don't have Facebook anymore, because I just don't use it. No, I just don't use it. I know people use Facebook Marketplace, but I don't know. I just can't keep track of all these social media apps. Like, I just have my strict couple of different ones, and I just keep it at that. And again, I'm a very private person. I don't just follow random people like that.
I do. Sorry. So for me, again, we're a little off topic, but it's fine. So for me, I'm on Facebook, but I find Facebook is nice just to remember birthdays because I don't have them written down for the life of me, and even then I still forget it. So I'm very sorry, guys, who I forget to wish, but I try. Otherwise, it's not really there. And then hubby too, he deleted it a while ago. He's like, I don't really need this, and I was like, yeah. And he was like, if anything, you have it, so why do I? And I was like, oh, okay, great. If you need to, whatever it may be. I'm so tempted to delete it, but then I'm like, parents, fam, it's all the bit of the older generation that kind of gets it and are using it. So I'm like, might as well leave it there and see what happens from it, but not active. And I used to be very I sometimes see the memories of my posts from years ago, and I'm like, what was that? My whole life was that stupid little banter and conversations with friends, and I'm like, what does this mean? I'm looking now, I'm like, what were you talking about? And it was the stupidest things.
Nah, girl, I started to delete a lot of the stupidity as I got older and all that. I didn't use it. I literally would just log on every year or every 8 to 10 months and just change my profile picture. Maybe that's it.
It's just there. I don't really like it, nor am I really fan of sometimes it's oh, you have to post or you should post because of XYZ. I'm like, it's okay, it is what it is. Okay, yeah, let's continue. So yeah, going back to that. So there's a lot of misrepresentation. So before it was those pictures, and I used to call them out, be like, who are you? Do you think you're some kind of Shah Rukh Khan or Salman Khan? And I'd be like, you're using this such and such picture. Because the thing is, we know, because we are of the ethnicity, who these people are. But they're fooling Goria and whatever, because they don't know. They don't watch Bollywood movies, so they're going to think that this guy is oh, so whatever, and they're not. And I'm like, stop, right? You're not that person. But to what extent they did change it or not, who knows? Apparently, there's also an increase of harassment.
I can see that.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's all from all angles because people are so easily able to say whatever behind an application and stuff versus face-to-face interactions, which obviously have changed over the years. So, and then apps are also...
Sorry, just to preface on that, there are legal consequences, guys, for doing that. Just so you know, if you think that, oh, I'm going to get away with it, yada, yada, yada.
Free advice, guys.
Free advice there is legal consequences.
So be conscious of your
actions.
Yes. Okay, so next is that these apps that we're using for dating are creating an illusion of options. So you think, and that's a lot of us, we're all guilty of it, who have ever used dating applications, I think within the last 10 years or so, we're all guilty of thinking, okay, let me just, swipe whatever, or not, choose this person or talk to or engage with them, because I could find better. And I think that's what we're all very, very guilty of. And you kind of get to the realization, and I really appreciate this of our parents' generation, was, yes, it was arranged, but they stuck with it as much, right, as they could, or as majority. They just kind of went into it and they were like, that's it, you know, and just deal. Whereas these days, we won't even like make like a solid relationship for X amount of time or anything, because we're like, okay, there's something better out there for me. So we're living in a world of illusion of, okay, there's something out there.
Yeah.
This is not legit, I find. I think, I'm not saying you just stick to whoever's there and make it work. I'm saying be realistic about those options, right? I would have loved to have been in that generation and just, well, sorry, I'm happily married and stuff, but the struggle to go through it is that it's not, I didn't think that way, others thought that way as well, and that's what perhaps, you know, it took as long as it did, which is fine, that's all of our experiences, but sometimes people just need to get off their high horse a little bit and be like, okay, what am I, you know, dealing with, what am I not, and just kind of not live in this world of illusion, delusion type of thing.
For sure, for sure.
There has been an increase in ghosting. This will go to after, because I have a whole little section about ghosting coming up. And then there's a difference between Generation Z, the way that Generation Z dates, and millennials date.
I think I'm a millennial.
Yes, I am too, apparently, but it changes.
I'm on the cusp on it,
Yeah.
the cusp of that whole thing, but I'm definitely more millennial.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a millennial, but they keep switching it up when they feel like it. I don't know who are these people that keep switching it up, but sometimes it changes. So that's
I grew up in the the early 2000s and late 90s, early 2000s. So for me,
but see,
I remember the boxed computers and learning how to type without looking. Okay,
yeah,
so that will describe my age.
But that was such a good, I find, thing to learn, which now kids can't do it. You know what I mean? People don't know how to type without not looking at the thing.
Oh, I don't look at my
keyboard. I'm looking at the screen. I do make mistakes, but I can go back. But when I was learning it, I was like, why do I need to learn this? And now I'm like, oh,
it is amazing. It is definitely it's just, I guess, to an extent you're just cutting down on time with what you're doing, but yes, ghosting is super big, and there's, again, half of the time there's no reason why someone will ghost you.
Okay, hold on. I have 6 reasons, right?
Oh.
Yes, let's go into it. I have the top 6 reasons why Gen Z and millennials ghost. This is taken from the Thriving Center of Psych website, so I've been doing my research.
So I will also say yes or no based off of what I've heard
Sure.
in my experiences, if I think this is accurate or not. So
sure.
Let's start with number 1.
Then the first one, for a reason why a Gen Z or millennial will ghost somebody, is not interested in continuing a relationship.
I see that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's happened with many people. Second one, avoiding confrontation. 100%.
Yeah.
People are so scared of, and I'm guilty of this, being scared. Have I
ghosted? It's hard to have conversations that you're not sure how they're going to go.
Yes. I think personally, I don't like confrontation with people, but over the last couple of years, I've started to, because you have to stand up for yourself, I find. If you just kind of let things be, they're just going to continue. But growing up, I did not confront people. I ran from it. So that's something I've been consciously working on. So I could see how that could happen. I'd rather run from it. But once you do it, you feel so much better about yourself. So you should say, like, hey, I'm not into this, or I'm not into you, or whatever, because whatever, the reason, whatever it is.
Yeah, take it in a mature way. And go from there.
And do it for yourself. You shouldn't be scared of the other person's response. They can't continue something with you if you're not interested in it. You know what I mean? So the next one is stressed or overwhelmed by expectations.
I think that's, I can see that. I've seen that with others out there, that it's like, where you're just there's a lot of stress overall in your life going on and you're just shutting down. So I can see where that happens, where you just do a shutdown of your whole entire self, and you just don't have the capacity to continue that, the talking stage with that person.
And you can't even go and say it, and that sucks, because at least you give the other person a bit of clarity as to why you're not gonna, because honest to God, like, whether it's a guy or girl, doesn't matter, you're gonna sit there going, like, you always go and say, what did I do? And that's what it goes back to, is what the hell did I do to cause this up, whatever. That's not always the case. Sometimes, as we said, there are different things going on with other people, and literally, you shouldn't feel bad if the person is not man or woman enough to give you that response or answer as to why they chose to just disappear and not let you know. You know what? You deserve much better. You deserve someone who will say that, even if they do need to exit something with you, will say that to you, and be honest with you.
Yeah, very true.
So the next thing is not a strong enough connection.
Yeah, that's valid.
Right? Offended by something.
Oh, so you don't address it, but you just straight up ghost the person?
Yeah. So again, it goes into you should kind of maybe you should tell them because perhaps they're using or saying the same things to others, and sometimes we I guess don't know, so that's why you should acknowledge it or at least say it. Be like, hey, maybe I didn't appreciate this. Again, this goes into standing up for yourself a little bit, I find, but then again, maybe you're taking it too personal as well. It kind of overlaps, perhaps.
Yeah, you never know with what the situation is, right?
Yeah, so I think communication is key, and I think there's a lot of lack of communication in just general these days, and I think that's what kind of more or less all this kind of comes into. And then the last one is struggling with mental health.
I can see that being a big one.
The thing I'm going to put on this one is I find these days mental health is something that is something we do need to work on. I agree, does need to be acknowledged and does need to be discussed. But in some cases, I find that either individuals, ourselves, or etc., are not able to correctly identify what would be a mental health situation versus what is you just kind of need to refocus and work on yourself. So I think that there needs to be more education out there on the distinctions so people can kind of correctly assess what they need to for themselves, right?
Yeah, I agree with you because, mental health is becoming a big thing now, which is amazing because it wasn't as prominent before. So it's good that a lot of people are acknowledging, where they're having their struggles there and just in general too with different societies and communities. So I think that's really good that people are acknowledging it. But yeah, definitely have to take that into account when you're in this, dating world because you just never know somebody's internal battle.
Yeah, and you also don't know your own, so also hold yourself accountable to it. And then perhaps, I think we'll talk about this again another time though, but I do feel that there has to be more information out there on what exactly you yourself as a person, if you are going through it, what you should kind of look into or do or assess correctly. Because sometimes we do, just go on WebMD, yeah, I have this, I have that. So maybe, kind of get that professional help. That's where I'm going at.
1,000%.
Okay, so I'm going to go into more dating trends. These I found from CTV News. And so you're going to this is interesting. This is terminations that they have, right? It's pretty funny. One dating trend is called open casting. Right?
Okay.
What this entails is that people nowadays, according to before, are more open to dating outside of their type. So you have like a type you have laid out, right? Or may have gone with, example. Due to what the trends and changes, apparently this is what entailing to you might be more willing to look outside of that type.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah.
That's what they're doing. And it says that apparently, according to Bumble, the majority of people now are focusing on emotional maturity. So that wasn't something I think that was more relevant prior to, but that seems to be more of a focus in today's dating trend generation, however you want to call it.
I think that's good.
Yeah, that's what they've said. So the next thing is called guard railing. Okay. Post-pandemic
I think
dating.
This word is so
interesting.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it.
That's what I'm saying. I was reading, I was like, huh? Anyways. Guard
why the fuck
railing.
would you come up with guard railing out of anything in this entire planet?
Pata ni man. What do you want me to say? Okay? We should make up our brown words. What would your brown word be for that?
It's going to be so dirty to the point where
so what would you say? What would you... No, but you don't even know what it's talking about, though. Let me define it.
Yeah, sorry.
Let me define it, right? Because once I define it, you'll understand. So it's post-pandemic dating. That's what it's in relation to. It's going from basically... as pandemic happened, right? Everyone was home, people kind of disassociated from social situations, etc. And you got to like being used to kind of isolated, depending on what kind of situation you were in. Punjabis, we were their fams, right? Time more or less. We still drove each other crazy, but at least we had fams probably around and whatever, gore, how they are. Not all of them, some of them, but Anyways, so this is now going back into the dating world after that. So it's that we don't want to. It's tougher for us to want to socialize now again, right? Going back to the office 5 days a week, right? Having to go out and do social functions, etc., attending stuff. So it's like, it kind of seems like it's more like your guard is up type of thing, and you're not wanting to do that because you're like, oh fuck, like now I have to go do this as well. First I have to go back to work full time, then I have to go do social events, now I have to even go do this. So it's like that type of thing.
Your social battery is just different.
Thank you. Like I can relate. This summer we had all those weddings happening, your brothers included, and at the end of the summer I was like, okay, I'm done now. Like I don't want to hear anybody, nothing. And then I have one of my other cousins, she's getting married next year. This girl sending me her wedding colors. I'm like, Tarn, December, come to me December. Gusto pa na, yeah, no thank you. I love seeing everybody, but I couldn't deal.
I 1,000% agree with you. After my brother's wedding in July of this year, I have not gone to a banquet hall since then.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
have so much PTSD in the sense that like I'm still drained.
Yeah.
I'm so drained because like it was my brother's wedding.
Yeah.
Right? It was like my intimate family. It was, he wanted the big Punjabi wedding.
Yeah.
You know, he had that. It was a lot of responsibility, a lot of things, a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Yes, did I have fun, but I feel like I also forgot where to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, throughout the whole process, but
that's what this like kind of goes into. At least like that was like for a duration, but this is like you going back into it all over again. And we already know how difficult it was for people kind of to be out there, right? Even now I find my social battery, like I go out, do one thing, I'm like, I'm done. You know, this weekend I did like, yesterday I was out in the evening, even during the day I was doing quite a bit. The day before I was out at night, and I'm like falling asleep at like freaking we went to dessert Friday night, and then my eyes are shutting down. I'm like, like it was like midnight almost, my eyes were closing. I'm like, I can't. I love to be there, but I was like, I can't. Like I was just like,
I get it.
Yes. Okay. So next would be something called Wander Love. So it's open to travel to meet to somebody. Whereas before we'd kind of be like, okay, you live in the same vicinity, we're good to go to the same area. Now people are more willing to travel to meet somebody. I don't know.
For long distance.
Yeah, I've seen so many nice videos over COVID. People going to travel to meet people, stay with people and stuff. It was so cute. TikTok, we'll find if we find anything. So next, you'll like this one. New year, new me, men, modern masculinity. Sorry. Men are now understanding more than ever what is acceptable and not in the dating world.
This sounds very shocking.
Hey, it seems as per stats that there are, you know, they're understanding it more, what is accepted, what's not accepted, and having that understanding and masculinity. Yeah.
Hey, that's great. That's
Kudos.
Great to hear.
Kudos. So, next one is dating renaissance. Singles are looking at dating a little differently right now. They're entering the scene in a new way, and they're more open to meet new people and different opportunities to meet them. And now more people are willing to try dating apps. Whereas I guess before there was hesitation, but there's been a different outlook towards it, which is interesting because I find there was quite a boom with the dating apps a long time ago. And then this one's a spicy one. Ethical sexploration. So apparently sex is no longer considered to be taboo and should be discussed early in a relationship. Whereas I guess that's something that I know culturally, you know, is taboo kind of, let's say. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a part of the relationship, so you should talk about
it. Yeah.
You shouldn't be afraid to talk about everything that can entail a relationship with you and that person. Yeah. If you are either you just are a little bit more shyer for certain topics, or you know, you just don't have that comfort level, but I think you should be able to talk about anything, like literally anything off of the planet. You should at one point be able to. Of course, comfort builds along the way, but I think that's a really important topic, because then there's these horror stories where, you know, everything's going well and then it comes to that point and they're like, well, okay, there's no chemistry there, and then people start to reevaluate. But I'm not going to get into that more.
No, I think it's just setting like those expectations, or having the discussions at least, and then kind of going from there. So being open to just like talk about, discuss it, whereas before I was kind of like, okay, we're dating and that's kind of it. So yeah. It's nice to see that. But and then cash candid dating, more people are setting financial boundaries in their dating lives, which is good, because we would see so much stuff about like dating like this, dating like that, etc., and it was pretty crazy. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is something called a love bomber. I have no idea this even existed, but anyways, this is what it entails.
I think I know exactly what this is
Okay.
because I've heard lots of stories, and yeah, this is very real.
All right. Again, there could be a lot of things to discuss, but I'm just going to end it off with this one because it just stuck out to me. So I was like, okay. Apparently, it's a manipulative tactic often used by narcissists. It's an attempt to control someone via over-the-top displays of affection and attention, and that it can also affect our mental health. And the person doing the love bombing is most likely testing your boundaries, and they probably do have more tactics up their sleeves.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't think it was more towards being like a narcissist.
Yeah.
Well, I can see that. I can definitely see that, but my mind went to, just people falling really quickly for another person.
So, funny enough, you mentioned that. There are some signs of it. So, this is what I was able to look up, but obviously to each their own. The first one is they call you that your soulmate too soon. Second thing, things are moving too quickly. Third, they need to be in constant contact with you. Fourth is they perform grand gestures. And 5 is that they'd say they can't live without you.
Wow.
So
Nicholas Sparks movie over here.
Yeah, possibly. You may think you're living into it.
Yeah.
So here's some tips, is that trust your gut, because your gut feeling will tell you what's going on, and I think that most of us don't trust that sometimes. And take things slow if someone's overly expressing. I mean, it's a little silly though, because like it's nice to be, feel that way and have those kind of feelings, but yeah, you kind of have to be at caution.
Oh, for sure. I agree. And this is where I think it's you really have to choose yourself. And I think this is a great place to segue into our last topic of the episode, which is the guilt of choosing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very important. It's okay to be selfish. No one else is going to put you first besides you. Yes, you're going to have partners and all that and people in your life, but at the forefront, it's your life. It's your life, man. You need to put yourself first, right? And when I talk about being selfish, I'm not saying like be an asshole and be like, oh, I'm going to be selfish, fuck this person, like screw this. There are times where it's okay to be selfish and there are times where it's not. Don't be selfish where it's hurting someone else. Okay?
Yeah, but that's where it's a little difficult, I'm going to say, because it's hard in the sense because sometimes there will be times where you will hurt somebody because you won't give in to, or you'll say no to them, right? So I find guilt of you choosing yourself also ties into saying no to something, some people, etc. And they just kind of perhaps may think, hey, why not? Why not me? Why are you saying no to me? This, that, whatever. And that's their perception as well. So although your intention is not to hurt the person, your intention is to look out for yourself, it gets a little bit tricky because the other person may have expectations from you. They may think that you should be doing this for them or you should be there for them because that's their ideologies, that's their understanding, etc. of life. So you kind of have to tie both of them together in the sense of don't be guilty about being selfish, choosing yourself. Also understand the other person may not understand it, and yes, you potentially could hurt someone's feelings, but that's based on their perception. So in a sense here, it's like don't harm someone intentionally, but if you need to say no, I can't go do this, I can't go do that because I need to do what I have to do for me, you got to do what you got to do for yourself. So it's like a double-edged sword. I find most of the times you have to kind of pick and choose situations. And in the beginning, if you're someone who's used to saying yes, a yes man or woman, when you start to do this, it gets very difficult because automatically it feels like you're letting people down. And in all aspects, you're honestly doing what's best for yourself, and that's not always understood, especially with people who don't have that kind of, emotional maturity or awareness that you're doing this. And you don't need to display this to them. You don't need to express it to them. But it is you putting yourself first, you being a little bit selfish for yourself, but for your own sake of mind and to make sure that you're happy or just taking care of yourself before you can take care of others.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way of putting it. I think the main thing to really, grasp in this whole thing that we just mentioned is the intention. The intention should be, trying not to hurt another person, but it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. And that's what gets difficult. And there will be times that other people, again, everyone has different personality characteristics, etc. We will not be able to please everybody. And I'm telling you, like, you can do everything someone else may want. And the one time you say no, that's it. It's over, right? But you need to do it for yourself, and it gets tough, and it's not the easiest thing to do. But you have to do what's best for you at the end of the day. And only when you are okay with yourself and your others' peace of mind, your mental being, your well-being, can you show up and be there for others. And you will see yourself in the different variations of when you choose yourself versus when you're choosing others. Family-wise and stuff, it gets a little tricky in those aspects, but there are sometimes, let's say, sacrifices that need to be made. But it varies. Again, situation to situation. I wish it was just say no here, say yes here, and whatever. It's not like that at all. And I'm not saying say no all the time, but, it's a give and take situation, though.
Yeah, it's unfortunately not very cut and clear, but, selfishness is tied with one's happiness, so
Yeah.
take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Right? So take into consideration your happiness at the forefront as well, and just thrive for yourself. I always say right now, especially right now in my life, I say this is my prime. This is my prime era. I am thriving.
It really is, man. It really,
And
really is.
it shows to people around me. They'll be like, wow, like, Tarn, this is what you're doing. I'm not even trying to boost myself. I'm just being honestly valid of that. There's a lot of growth and healing I've done for myself over an extensive period of time, and healing doesn't end, right? Growing doesn't end. It's an everyday thing that you encompass into your life. And, I do things for myself. I will take in the little moments. I'm very big on the little moments. Like, sometimes I'll just be walking outside after I went to the gym in the morning before work, and the sun's about to rise, and it's so beautiful, and I'll just start smiling to myself. And if there's somebody on that treadmill at that gym looking at me thinking I'm a freaking weirdo, let them. It is what it is. I will have the most corniest music playing in my ears, like whatever it is, just to bring in the whole movie moment. Do those things for yourself. It's not like do things that bring you little joy throughout the day, right? Like, find those little moments in the day. Like, sometimes, let's say you went on a hike and it's just so beautiful. Like, soak in that sun, close your eyes, and just like feel it, feel the energy, feel all of that. People don't realize there's so much good energy that you can take control of in this universe.
Yeah.
The universe gives you a lot. Take advantage of that. Don't just be in this mindset that, oh my god, this is not working out, whatever. Yes, have those moments too, vent it out. You're gonna have a shitty day sometimes, but honestly, think about what the universe has to offer. You can take control of that very easily if you have that mindset there for you. But yeah, thrive for yourself, take in those little moments, build confidence within yourself, right? It's not about being egotistical or just being this narcissistic person. You can be confident and humble in the same way. Just take in that confidence for yourself. Be like, yeah, you know what? I am proud of myself. I love myself.
Yeah.
I am confident in what I've built for myself. If somebody asks you to describe yourself, think about how you would do that for yourself. How would you describe yourself? Because I think a lot of us get stumped with that question, right? I used to 1,000% get stumped with that question, but now I'm like, you know what? I am this person who worked on herself. I did this. There's a way that I describe myself to a person, right? Because I know my worth and value as an individual, what I bring to the table in all aspects of my life, in my career, in my personal life, family, friends, whatever, and just as a human being, what I bring to the table. So, and that is the confidence I've built for myself, right? And when you have confidence, another thing I do want to touch on very quickly, I don't want to get into it too much, but you will come across people who try to push in negative energy when you're glowing.
Yes.
There's going to be people who will do that. And it is because they have a lot of work to do on their end.
And they don't understand it. They don't understand how, let's say, like, you're not at a certain level or etc., that how could you be happy, although for them perhaps being successful and happy means A, and you're at like another level, I don't know, ED, but you're exuding more confidence than they are. So it's not they're doing it intentionally also, you know that very well. It's not doing purposely, but when they're like, hey, how is this person at this level, and for me, success is here and etc. And I'm not even there, but how could they be like this? They'll just kind of like, can sense your, let's say, I say vibrations, energy, they can sense it. And you can automatically tell that when you're at a higher vibration or energy, people will be weeded out of your life. As we see over time, people will be weeded out of your life when they're not at that themselves. Like, it's not even you have to do anything. It just kind of happens organically.
I 1,000% agree with you, because I am a true believer right now, again, in this era of my life, that the universe is just clearing out toxic energies out of my life, because I put myself in this certain presence for myself. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it's not something that those people are doing intentionally, but it's just something that they're noticing, that there's a lacking there, and it's fortunate. And it takes time for those people to realize that. We've all gone through it. I've definitely gone through it, where I've just been like, what is going on with this person, but why isn't it happening for me? It's sometimes you just have to have a little shift that happens in your life that makes you realize you need to do this for yourself. But I think, again, in the guilt of choosing yourself, there's a lot of growing and healing that you need to experience. Another thing is, you can't heal someone else. You have to be the person to heal your own self.
And that's it. And that's when you stop there. You can't do anything else for anyone else.
Yeah, you can't fix others. You can be helpful towards their cause. I definitely agree there, but it's not our responsibility to fix others. Let's say you think that you fix them. There's still that crack there, honey. The crack is still very deep rooted. You tried to pour something over it, but there's still that crack, and it's going to open back up, right? Until they don't start to try to seal it on their own, is it going to completely shut off, right? And be healed. And it's not going to be that they're completely healed. There's going to be still some scarring there, but that's a part of life. We all have scars and, things that we've dealt with, but, I just wanted to quickly mention that too, that it's not on another person to heal someone. You have to go through that journey on your own. And I do want to commend those out there who have done that for others, because it's not easy. You're putting a lot of stress mentally and all that on yourself, and being supportive. Yep. But just know that it's not your responsibility to fix someone else. And if for those people who think that I need someone else to fix what's going on with me, we've all had those moments. I used to too, but then I realized I'm like, I need to fix myself. I need to do this for myself. I can't have someone or like a man come into my life and be like, I'm going to fix everything. I'm going to heal, like in the movies. That's just not how it works. But yeah.
No, I agree with that. It's like you need to be able to do it for yourself. And one of the things I also strongly believe on is, and this ties into it sometimes, is if you're able to be content, happy on your own, only then can you be that for others. And I think that it is always an ongoing journey for us to be working on ourselves. So I could be a different person than I was a couple of years ago, a couple of months ago, and I could still keep changing. It doesn't mean I'm always going to change for the better. My intention is also always to, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen, and that's just kind of what life is. But as long as you're putting out the efforts, you will see. Not that I'm not, okay, I do believe in a few different things, views, you guys will find that out eventually, but I truly believe that whatever vibrations, whatever energy, whatever you're putting out there, I believe the universe will be helping you. And I see this all the time, and I hear it, is that when you start working on yourself, everything kind of happens. And it's not to say you sit there believing, oh yeah, like, today I'm gonna go apply for this, okay, I'm gonna get the job, it's gonna happen for me. It's that when you start putting in the hard work on yourself, and for me it's like the mental health walks I go on, trying to eat healthier, trying to whatever. It's not easy. It's very difficult, and you have to fight with yourself consistently. It's an uphill, downhill battle, but over time, you will see that things organically start to change for you, and it's a really, really great place to be. And it doesn't mean you're always going to stay there. The intention and the hope is too, but it's not always like that. But as long as you do not give up on yourself, you will see the changes happen for you. And this goes into when you hone into this, the guilt of choosing yourself, right? The guilt of saying no to people. It all hones in together because you're doing the best that you can for yourself. And only when you start thinking of this and thinking of what's good for me, what's not good for me, versus what's expected of me to certain levels, can you start to fully be okay with yourself and love yourself. And that's what it kind of goes into. You have to love yourself.
Yeah, and you don't have to think it's going to happen
overnight. It's not.
Exactly.
And on all honesty, it may never happen. And that's what it goes into. But working on it, I think that's what counts the most.
Yeah, 1,000%. I agree with you there. And like me and Rempy, like if I were to tell you guys what our conversations look like on a day-to-day basis, like sometimes it's literally just venting about the day, right? Sometimes it's just about being accountable for one another and just being like, did you eat today?
Right?
Literally,
what did you have?
What did you have? Did you eat today? Are you done work soon? How's your work day going? Oh, I hope it's going well. Some things like, very simple, but also we try to be very positive with one another because we're just on that vibration, on the same vibration level where we want to thrive and do these things for ourselves, and we have these conversations, and again, that's what the whole purpose of this podcast was too, in a sense, where we felt that there's a lot we've learned with trying to grow and heal, that sometimes hearing about it does help someone start that journey, that maybe they needed that kickstart, or like, for example, some people are just like, wow, like this is great what you guys are doing, because we really felt like maybe there isn't this type of specific category out there, in a sense, for us as people and women in this community that we are in. And even if there's a male, whatever your preferences are, if you're listening to this and you feel like you can resonate with it, I'm happy that you
connect, reach out.
Yeah.
If you like guidelines, or if you just want to know like what we do on a day-to-day, or if you want to know more about our struggles, which are day-to-day, it's not like, okay, we're good now. We could go and have whatever week or whatever, what I mean? It's consistent. But to have someone there who can, as ownership or just to check in, is different. So if that's what you're looking for, like, reach out.
Yeah, it definitely probably sounds like, oh, wow, they have their shit together.
Nah, not even close. Not even close.
Some days, I will say, maybe I feel like I did have my shit together, but every day varies, right? Like you try to take the good out of the good, like take the good in from the day, and just be productive. And there's also a lot of imposter syndrome that we all experience. I can definitely talk about that more in a different episode, but I think be careful with how you put out your intentions for things, and just be mindful and stay true to you and be happy. Just be happy, It actually takes a lot to be happy sometimes for someone, but once you get into the hang of it, it's the most important thing and the best thing that you can ever do for yourself.
Did you know it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile? Always think about that. Especially with everyone aging, man, men, women, all you guys, with those lines, smile. Fucking smile more.
Do you want to know something really funny?
Sure.
So during my brother's wedding, side note, I am a younger sibling. I have an older brother, and he got married a couple months ago. And so I have a resting bitch face, I believe.
Same over here. So guys, hence we resonate because of what she's going to tell you now.
Yeah, probably. So I have we both have a resting bitch face, but talking about my particular one, I didn't want to look like an asshole the whole week.
Being like that girl.
In videos and in photos, and just people around, right?
Because they look at that, eh? They notice. It's so funny, though, because for you, you're fucking dead tired because of all the fucking planning and everything and waking up early and makeup. No one cares about that. They care if you, look at her. She's the groom sister and she's like that.
Right? But I was just being me. I just have a resting bitch face. So,
Not even, bro. You were it's tiredness, but you did pretty good. Like, I was around, and I think you did a pretty good job.
Oh,
so,
thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that. But yeah, I made sure to smile all week. My face was hurting for a week after this because I had to force myself to look like I did not have a resting bitch face. So that's what I think is funny that you said that it takes more muscles to frown, because it took so many muscles out of my body to get that going, so that hopefully when the video and the photos come in, that I don't look like,
because all the proof is there, and I have the same concept as you, so this is honestly training for your wedding, especially with all the cameras, people, and everything around. At, like, whatever leading up to it, you have to smile, and by the time, like, you're, like, done, you're just done with it. You're like, I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to do anything. It is such, like, I find you grow so much from the moment that you're, like, roped to, like, married. Those, whatever how many time it is for you, there's a lot of growing up you do as an individual, and there's a lot you see, and you're like, whoa, like, there's a lot that happens, and I think everyone resonates with that. But I was also going to say, same thing, like, I do have a resting bitch face, so there are people sometimes that are like, oh, like, what's going on? Look at this, look at that. And I'm like, it's nothing towards you. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. And yes, we're getting a little off topic now. So yeah, that was it for today's episode for now. We clearly have a lot more we would like to ramble on, so kindly stay tuned for future episodes.
Yes, we always have lots to talk about, but thank you again, everyone, for tuning in to last week's episode and for this week's as well. Again, we appreciate all the love and support, and we hope there's something helpful that came out of this for someone. And, you know, we enjoyed just venting this out and spending some time with one another because, hey, when do we get to just do something like this with one another, right? But please do check out our social media accounts. We have an Instagram, a Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. You know, Reddit, and
working on we will be on YouTube very soon. It will be linked in the Spotify and be shared, but thank you so much again for your support.
Yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, sounds good. Have a great week, and definitely reach out if you need to.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.